He walked into that courtroom in sneakers, a hoodie, and handcuffs, just another young black man the system had already labeled guilty. The judge smirked. The prosecutor grinned. The gallery whispered like it was all a joke. But then, the defendant spoke. And the whole room forgot how to breathe. This isn't just a story about a trial. It's about a teenager who turned a courtroom upside down, who exposed the lies, dismantled the evidence, and forced a seasoned judge to choke on his own assumptions. In under 30 minutes, he went from defendant to dominator. From accused, to acquitted. And when the truth hit the air like a hammer, not a single person in that room was ever the same. But here's the question we all need to ask: how many other trials didn't end this way? Because not every Andre Calloway gets the chance or the knowledge to fight back. If this made your heart race, your fists clench, or your mind open, then hit that like button, subscribe for more stories that demand justice, and tell us in the comments, what would you have done if you were in his shoes? This story isn't just about one verdict. It's about all the ones still waiting. Judge Leonard Hayward of the Fulton County Courthouse in Atlanta, Georgia, sat with his fingers drumming lazily against the polished oak of his bench. The courtroom air felt dense, humid from the tightly packed rows of spectators murmuring with anticipation. It was supposed to be a routine hearing, one more troubled youth caught up in a stolen car case. Standing alone at the defendant's table was 19-year-old Andre Calloway. He looked small next to the oversized wooden desk, but he stood with quiet confidence, hands in his pockets, chin lifted just enough to make it clear he wasn't afraid. The charges? Grand theft auto and resisting arrest. Judge Hayward peered at him over the rim of his glasses, his voice dry and laced with condescension. You think you're some kind of legal expert, son? This ain't your high school debate team. A few people chuckled, among them the court stenographer, the bailiff, even the prosecutor. But Andre didn't laugh. He had been preparing for this moment for years, not in this way, as a defendant, but through the countless hours spent absorbing legal arguments. His mother, Teresa Calloway, had worked as a paralegal in Atlanta for over 2 decades. While most kids his age grew up idolizing athletes, Andre idolized trial lawyers. While others played video games, he ran mock court scenarios in his head. By the age of 14, he could tear down a trial structure better than most second-year law students. None of that mattered to Judge Hayward, who didn't see a sharp mind, just another young black man in handcuffs. Let's make this quick, the judge muttered, flipping open the case file. I've got a golf game at 2:30. The audience chuckled again, the sound filling the courtroom like a wave of arrogance and indifference. But something subtle shifted. Andre's lips curled into a faint, unreadable smile. Judge Hayward had just made his first mistake, and Andre had been waiting for it. This wasn't a teenager hoping for mercy. This was someone who had studied the system inside out and was ready to challenge it, one move at a time. District Attorney Philip Chambers stood from the prosecution's table with the calm swagger of a man who'd already won. His tailored navy suit was flawless, and his silk tie nodded with the precision of someone who rehearsed every move. As he approached the jury, the rhythm of his polished leather shoes echoed confidently through the courtroom. Your Honor, he began, glancing at Judge Hayward with a nod, the state will prove beyond any reasonable doubt that the defendant, Andre Calloway, was caught in possession of a stolen 2022 Audi A6. Chambers turned toward the jury box, his voice smooth, practiced. The vehicle was reported missing just hours before his arrest. Officers pursued the suspect through downtown Atlanta, and the defendant attempted to flee before being apprehended. His fingerprints were found on the steering wheel. The evidence speaks for itself. The murmurs in the gallery intensified. On the surface, it sounded like an open-and-shut case. A stolen luxury car. A police chase. A young man caught red-handed. Judge Hayward leaned forward on his bench, chin in hand, giving Andre a pointed glance before turning back to Chambers. Proceed. Chambers walked slowly, letting the tension simmer. The defense may try to claim this was all a misunderstanding. That Mr. Calloway is some sort of unfortunate victim of coincidence. He paused, locking eyes with Andre. But let's be honest. What kind of innocent person runs from the police? The room fell quiet. Andre's expression didn't change. His hands remained in his pockets, posture steady. Chambers flipped through a stack of neatly organized papers. We also have the sworn testimony of Officer Martin Delgado, he continued. He witnessed the defendant behind the wheel before the chase began. The vehicle was confirmed stolen, and the arrest was by the book. Judge Hayward gave a small nod. Sounds straightforward to me. Most people in that room likely agreed. But not Andre. He had spent years studying criminal trials, watching how prosecutors built their narratives, what they emphasized, and more importantly, what they didn't. He said nothing. Not yet. Then Judge Hayward tapped his gavel lightly. All right. Let's hear from the defense. Lisa Harper, the court-appointed public defender, stood awkwardly. She opened her mouth to speak, but Andre gently placed a hand on her arm. She hesitated. Then, understanding, she sat back down. Andre looked up at the judge. Your Honor, I'll be representing myself. And just like that, the room went still. A stunned silence gripped the Fulton County Courthouse. Even Judge Hayward leaned back, arching an eyebrow. You'll what? Andre Calloway's voice was steady. I'll be defending myself, Your Honor. The gallery buzzed with whispers. Bailiff Simmons raised an eyebrow. District Attorney Chambers let out a short, smug laugh. Well, this should be interesting. But the moment Andre stepped forward, the mood shifted. There was no nervous fidgeting, no uncertain gaze. Just silence, intentional silence as he scanned the courtroom, commanding attention without saying a word. Then, calmly, he broke it. Your Honor, before I begin, I'd like to clarify something with the prosecution. He turned toward Chambers. You stated that Officer Martin Delgado personally witnessed me behind the wheel of the stolen vehicle, correct? Chambers folded his arms, already looking bored. That's right. It's written in his report. Andre nodded. Then turned to the judge. I move to dismiss that testimony. Judge Hayward squinted. On what grounds? Andre slowly pulled his hands from his pockets. Because Officer Delgado wasn't on duty when the chase began. In fact, he wasn't anywhere near the scene. A ripple of confusion passed over Chambers' face. Andre continued, calm as ever. If the court allows, I'd like to submit a formal request to verify Officer Delgado's GPS logs from that night. If his report says he saw me, his location data should back that up. But, he let the word hang, just long enough, I have reason to believe it won't. The gallery murmured louder. Hayward shifted in his seat and looked to the prosecution. Chambers stiffened. Your Honor, this is a sworn officer of the law. Are we really entertaining the word of a defendant over an experienced officer? Andre gave a light shrug. If he was where he said he was, the data will confirm it. If not, that speaks for itself. Judge Hayward studied Chambers. Does the prosecution object to verifying the GPS logs? A beat of hesitation. Just long enough. The jury noticed. The gallery noticed. Most importantly, Hayward noticed. Chambers finally shook his head. No objections, Your Honor. But it was too late. The shift had already begun. Andre hadn't just challenged the case, he'd cracked it open. For the first time, no one was laughing. The courtroom was holding its breath. The story of Andre Calloway isn't just a courtroom drama, it's a mirror. A mirror that forces us to confront the brutal truth: the justice system isn't always just. It rewards power, punishes ignorance, and often bets on silence. Andre won not because the system worked but because he knew how it worked. Here's the lesson: knowledge is power. Silence is surrender. And justice only happens when we demand it out loud, in full view, without apology. Too many innocent voices are buried under broken procedures, lazy prosecutions, and racial bias disguised as due process. Andre was prepared. But what about the thousands who aren't? That's where you come in. Educate yourself. Know your rights. Speak up. Bias thrives in silence. Support legal access and reform. Donate. Volunteer. Share stories like this. Demand accountability. From judges, from prosecutors, from police departments. Because next time, it won't be Andre. It might be your brother. Your neighbor. Your child. Or you. Justice doesn't begin in the courtroom, it begins with us. So hit like, share this story, and let's build a world where the truth doesn't need a miracle to be heard. Let's make justice the rule, not the exception.